What's up, everybody? Well, today I'm here to bring to you another vacuum that joined my vacuum collection. This time, it's something a little bit different than what you're used to seeing on the channel. What I have for your viewing pleasure today is a Hoover Convertible model U4127. One of the much older versions of the convertible, and originally one I didn't have intentions of getting in the first place. But how I ended up with this was I actually got this from a seller on eBay that I originally bought another vacuum from, and that he sent this one to me by accident. It was one of those situations where you definitely got a lot of things to sell. When you buy some, you forget what you shipped out, and then you realize, oh shoot, you sent the wrong vacuum, which was my situation. So I contacted him, and he was very professional about it, I should add. And admittedly, I tried as hard as I can not to sound rude, because I didn't want to be one of those jerky buyers with super high expectations. I buy a lot of vacuums over the years and sold quite a bit of them too. I've ran into a couple of those people, and I didn't want to be one of them. So I said, hey, I purchased this other vacuum, and it showed up, but it looks a little bit different. So, yeah, being a little bit jokey about it, I did kind of point out he sent me the wrong vacuum. So he said to me, you know what? You keep the vacuum. Don't even bother returning it. I mean, I was literally about to pay return shipping even after the other vacuum that I originally bought gets shipped out. But unfortunately, an incident with the shippers that put the package at my front door, unfortunately I opened up and that vacuum showed up damaged. What vacuum is it? You're going to have to wait and find that out. But it's going to take some time before I get to that, because it's got a lot of parts that need to go its way, because it was damaged in shipment. So I decided, you know what? Since you sent me this here convertible by mistake, why don't I keep it as a fully working vacuum, and we'll call it even. So that's how I actually got this. And so now I got another vacuum that needs parts. So you'll eventually have to wait for that mystery vacuum to get fixed, which is going to take some time, so please keep the patience. I know a lot of you like to see what's new in my collection. But for now, let's go ahead and talk about this. This is one of the lower end model of convertibles that you could tell it's a low end because it doesn't have a headlight. This is definitely a 70s convertible. It's the late 70s because it's at the time when they switched over to the plastic base. I would have wanted a metal base convertible because I already do have another convertible, the U4349. Link to that video in the description box of this video, which is essentially the blue version of this that has a headlight and has a color contrasted striped outer bag with a type A bag system. This one takes type C bags. And this is definitely a perfect example of a base model Hoover convertible. But I do like the green color on it. Even though I do prefer the blue a little bit better as a personal preference, this does look really great in this nice green. You do have your power switch here along the back here, which is a nice big style, almost toggle switch. Love the way that looks. Here is the cord on the side here. The one thing I definitely will say, what I absolutely dislike about these lower end convertibles, the cords on these are pathetically short. Like, they are so short, I can't even do vacuuming in like one area without having to stop and switch cords around. So yeah, this thing's definitely not a daily because of that, and eventually one of these days I'm going to have to invest in an extension cord for this, as well as my other convertible that has this short of a cord, just to daily use the thing. But not a major deal. It's just something that is unfortunate with these lower end convertibles. Now to get access to the outer bag, or to the inner bag, I should say on these convertibles, for whatever reason, it unzips from the bottom instead of from the top. Don't know why that is. That was always a quirk of these old convertibles, but this is what it came with, and that's what I stick with. And here is the bag that I'm running in this. This is a HEPA Eureka F&G bag for this, which I have it mounted all the way almost towards the bottom. That way it sits at the height for the outer bag. I basically did this because, one, you can get the F&G bags in HEPA cloth configuration. I haven't seen many for Hoover Type C bags, which are definitely a bottom fill design. But in a way, the F&G is somewhat top fill. As you can see, that it has a permanently mounted fill tube on the bag that comes into a top fill. So it's kind of neat the way these bags are designed, that they are somewhat top fill, but they fill in from the bottom. Which I'm running this just for the increased filtration as well as better suction and airflow. And that's one of the things you can do to these to increase your performance. And one of these ways you could do the F&G bag like I did, which definitely works for something like this that has the larger outer bag. Early convertibles had a much smaller outer bag with the Type Cs, but the spacing is kind of awkward for F&Gs. But what you can also do to this, and this is something YouTube user VacLab has also done to his convertible, he actually rigged a Hoover Q bag, cut off the bottom part, attached it as if it were Type C, and then just tape up the top fill collar so that no dust leaks out, and he gets HEPA filtration out of it. Which I could have done, but I have a thing for cutting up Qs and A bags, because I have a lot of other machines that take A bags and they might need them. So I went the F&G route with this, and it works just fine. So as we move along down here, you do have a nice green hood, definitely some scrapes and scuffs, you know, just from normal use. It's a base model with no headlight. It just has this little piece on the front that says Hoover Convertible. And you have your nice little Hoover symbol on the front left of the cleaner. But anyway, actually it's the right. But if you're looking at it from the back, that is the left. So yeah, looking at it from the front, you can see, looking at the Hoover symbol, technically it is to the right. So, also along the back here, you do have your floor height adjustment right here that goes from high, medium to normal, then to low. I always like to leave it in the normal setting for the pile of this carpet. Originally, I did have an issue when I got this. The carpet height adjustment knob was bent, and so when you release the handle piece would actually rub against the carpet height adjustment knob and knock it into the higher carpet height settings, which I eventually fixed and solved that. Now I don't have any issues with it anymore. Just kind of bent and formed it back into shape, so now it doesn't rub. And obviously right here is the handle release. And now let's go ahead and show you the underside of the cleaner. Actually, it's probably going to be better if I do it, tip it forwards to show you the underside. Here is the brush roll that's in this thing. It does have 2 rows of beater bars right here. And you also have 2 brush strips along the front here. These are the black bristle brush strips, which is standard for these older Hoover convertibles back in the day. Of course, you can replace these with the white strips, the red strips, or the orange strips. But these black strips are ridiculously dense. Actually, all of the bristles are dense, but the black bristles, according to most Hoover convertible collectors, are the softest ones you can get. The red ones, they report, are the most stiff. That are the white ones. The orange ones are like the in-between mark, in between stiffness and soft. So, this is old enough to have the metal bottom plate. So, yeah, and it's also hinged on by these two little holes right here at the front. And it isn't metal, so that adds a little bit of rigidity to the cleaner. And here is your belt. It's a Hoover style 48 belt. In fact, here is the belt part number right over here, 49258. And let's give you a better look at the model number now that I mention this. It's Hoover cleaner model U4127. I think I may have misspoke that in the title. But anyway, it's 120 volts, 60 hertz. This has a 4.3 amp motor. It's a little bit lower than the amperage of the higher models, which I do believe were 4.8 amps at this time. As you can see, it's rated for both floors and tools. They both draw 4.8 amps, which early models would have a 4.7 amps for tools because there was a high-speed switch for the motor that when you put it upright, it was in high speed. And if your model was old enough, you would have a little tool port towards the back that would attach from the back, and there was a little micro switch that activated the high-speed side of the motor, to which it would compensate for the low tool for the tool suction, which is a convenient thing for a convertible at the time, which I do believe that is what spawned in the making of the Elite when they brought those into having tools for their lineup. And here is the fan that's in this thing. Let me see if I can get it closer into the light. Come on. So this particular one is old enough to have its original 11-bladed plastic fan. This is unfortunately the days when they transferred away from the 12-bladed metal fan, which was a shame because that's originally what I wanted. Because my blue U4349 also has the same 11-blade fan. And these are pretty good. Unfortunately, these are not too easy to find these days because the only replacement fans they have for these are 6 blades, like the later production convertibles would come with factory, which definitely changes up the tone of the motor. Instead of the white noise sound that these 11 and 12 blades would have, the 6-bladed fans would almost sound like a blow dryer, in my opinion. But these white noise sounding 11-blade and 12-blade metal fans, even though the 11 blades are plastic, are just something to be reckoned with. So now let's go ahead and wrestle this bottom plate back on. And just latch it up. And there's not really that much else to say about this cleaner, other than let's go ahead and get to demonstrating this thing. So now let's go ahead and release the cord. Unfortunately, since there are no quick release cord hooks on these convertibles, although they would eventually develop them for high-end models later on, you unfortunately have to unwind it the old-fashioned way. No, actually, in order for it to do more vacuuming, let's go ahead and plug more towards the middle of my bedroom to give you a better demonstration with this thing doing a little bit more cleaning, so I don't cut the video short while reaching halfway around the room. So, enough of that. Let's go ahead and release this guy down, turn this thing on, and demo it for you guys so you can hear this thing running. This thing runs very quiet. A lot more quiet than today's direct air vacuums. Noise-wise, this could definitely give the Elite a run for its money. And that's saying a lot because I really love the Hoover Elites since I grew up in the 90s. way it lifts the carpet pile. Such an amazing cleaner. Definitely a great piece of Hoover history. Well, everybody, I hope you've enjoyed this video on the Hoover Convertible. Be sure and stay tuned, and don't forget to like, rate, comment, and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.